Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2016 NWSL Championship Preview Press Conference. We're very excited to have everyone here today. At this time, I'd like to introduce our speakers for today. We have Washington Spirit head coach Jim Gabarra and Washington Spirit defender Allie Krieger. Jim, if we could first begin with your overall thoughts on Sunday's championship.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you all for coming. It's been a great week for us. I want to thank the City of Houston, the Dash, the Dynamo organization for really pampering us and making us feel really special. It's been a special week for us building up to a championship game. They're something that's very, very rare and should be cherished, but also we do have a job to do, and that's get a win against a very difficult Western New York Flash team on Sunday, which is now tomorrow. But we're really looking forward to it. We're prepared, and we're ready to go.
Great. Thank you, Jim. And Allie, if we could also get your thoughts looking ahead to Sunday's championship.
Yes, just thank you all for being here, and to also the City of Houston for hosting this wonderful game. We're also excited to be here. It's been, a goal of ours from the very beginning of the season to get to the final. As a team, we're fully focused, we're confident, we're motivated to want to be successful tomorrow, and we're all very, very excited for the opportunity. You never know if this is the last time you'll ever be in a final, so we're fully focused, we're committed and determined to win, and excited to play in an amazing atmosphere, an intimate stadium, and all together, and hopefully finish out the season on top.
Great. Thank you, Allie. Next, we're going to go ahead and open it up to questions from the media. If you can please go ahead and raise your hand and wait for the mic to come, and then ask your question. All right, in the front.
Hi. Allie, I saw some of your comments yesterday about how much this means to you. And I'm wondering if missing last year's playoff, if this game has any additional meaning to you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. That last year was, really tough for me because family to me always comes first. So that was really important to not miss that occasion. Unfortunately, it just so happened to fall on the same day. But yes, this is very, very important for me to be here. I hold this league just as high as anything else that I've been a part of, especially the national team level. And I take it very seriously, as do, everyone in this organization and my other teammates. So it is very, very important that we keep this, to the highest standard, and that we're all here and we're all on the same page, and we're all focused. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was serious, and that I didn't take this league serious. So I'm very loyal to this organization, loyal to this league, to my national team, to my country. So it's an honor to be here, to finally be in an NWSL final. And I treat it at the highest level just as anything else I'm a part of.
Great, thank you. We'll take our next question. Any further questions?
Not everyone at once, come on.
Graham, go ahead.
And what was your thought process this season in terms of how and where you wanted Crystal Dunn to play, and kind of how you saw her fitting in?
Thanks for the question. Good question. My thought process dates back to the first day when I was interviewing for the job. I evaluated the roster. I evaluated all the players and staff, and then when I planning the roster adjustments or changes that I felt were necessary to improve the team, I looked at Crystal as a player who can change the games. She can decide games, a real difference maker. A lot of her goals last season were in pressure situations and transition. So I wanted to build off of that, not only with style of play, but bring in players who complemented her. I didn't anticipate her only scoring 2 goals. I also didn't anticipate or plan or expect her to score 15 this year. I thought it would be somewhere in between. But, I think it's been, for me, my responsibility is to help develop Crystal and to become a better player, and at the same time win games and play an attractive style and an entertaining style. So it's been kind of a multifaceted approach with Crystal, and she's still very, very early in the process of development. and improving the areas that she needs to improve upon. And with her, I've told her all along, if she makes these improvements and really digs in and learns and makes those improvements, she could be simply the best player in the world.
Great. Next question in the front. Hold.
I speak loud enough if I look at Mike. Christine Nairn got the MVP for the Spirit this season. Ali, she stepped in as captain while you were gone. Can you just reflect a little bit on the leadership you've seen from her this season?
Absolutely. I think she's stepped up into that role tremendously, especially when we've been away with other duties in the national team. I think she is a key player in our team, one of the core players who has been here for the past 3 seasons. So, everyone respects her, and, some of the younger players really look up to her. But she's taken some of the games into her own hands and has scored multiple goals for us that have been key goals in being successful this season. So she is a key player for us, and a lot of our play revolves around her. So having her in the middle of the pitch is kind of an engine for us, so to speak, that she really provides. She really provides that stability, I think, for our team that we need, that we look for her to change games and to solidify games. And so I really love the way she's performed this season, and I look to her to be a leader also on the field for us and off. But she's been that type of player that can kind of, when we're gone, be the liaison between the coaching staff and the players as well. And she stepped into that role beautifully. And, I hope tomorrow we can together be successful and look back on the season and be proud of where we've come together.
I think Nairn is representative of our core of players with Tori and Joe and Estelle and even Kelsey and Witt and Caprice, that players who have been here consistently for the whole season and improved an unbelievable amount of things. Nairn has gotten so much better at the things we've asked her to do that I think even ourselves as a technical staff have a hard time noticing it unless we went back and watched maybe her first couple of games. But the things we asked her to do, she has really embraced and grabbed a hold of them and executed them in big-time matches. And, I would hate, as I've done this whole season, it's really difficult for me to select one player and pluck them out, and that's why I go she represents everyone else, like Joe and Tori, who have had improved performances, but have also developed and improved at a really astounding rate.
Okay, we'll take our next question. If you can wait for the mic, please, so the fans listening online can hear the question. Thank you.
Jim, just to follow up on that, both with Nairn and then also with Crystal, what are some of the things? What are some of the ways that they've improved that you've seen? And maybe for Crystal, what's the next step in her development?
Well, I'll start with Crystal. Crystal, I think, is a great 1v1 individual player, plays with a lot of instinct. If we can get her to play with maybe limited touches, play more to our possession style and a little more pass and movement, and a little more on the tactical side, I think she would be unstoppable. And Nairn, I think when we had her early in the season, she had a habit of stopping the ball and not moving with the ball or kind of waiting. So her movement off the ball and her defending are 2 things that we've seen tremendous growth at.
Okay, please go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question. We'll bring the mic. Okay, in the front.
Jim, speaking of Joe, I was talking with Paul Riley at Media Day, and he was saying that, quietly she's probably one of the best players in the league this year. But in terms of what she's brought to your midfield and I guess the defensive aspects, what is she going to bring on Sunday that you think might give you an edge against Western New York?
Well, yeah, she's had a tremendous season, and I got to ask her where the fountain of youth is because it's not something that I planned on or was reliant on, and actually it was kind of shoved in my face because there were times where I tried to get her out of the lineup and the team just didn't do as well. So, I think her and Tori and Nairn have really had a good working relationship that's gotten better and better every game, and they've provided so much to the team that in Joe's individual case, she's a ball winner. She does all the dirty work. Even though early in the season where she was getting goals and getting kind of the glamour, that's not who she is. She's someone who does all the dirty work, all the hard work in midfield, ball winner, aggressive, and will play and perform her role exactly as I ask her to do it and love every second of it.
Okay, next question.
By the way, I think Jo found her fountain in Bethesda. I think that's where her fountain is.
Is that where you live too?
Yeah. We're not playing at you're not playing at the Plex, but I know a lot of Spirit fans that are making the trek down to Houston. What sort of inspiration does that provide for the team, knowing that the loyal fan base is following them all the way to Houston to see this historical game for them?
Fan favorite can take that one.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been tremendous all season, the support that we've had through every single game. Our Spirit Squadron, I always give them a shout out because I respect them so much and their loyalty to us since day one. I know that we have a lot of Spirit fans here in Houston who always come to the games, no matter if it's just a regular season game or a playoff game or a championship. So we really appreciate all the support that we've gotten. A lot of our families and family members are coming. Friends are making the trip down here. So we couldn't be more grateful for the support. And we really, really appreciate the organization and just the atmosphere that we are provided every single game and the willingness to buy the tickets, to buy the flights to come down here. We know it's not easy. We know that people save up for these tickets and these flights and the hotels. We know it's not easy and it's not cheap. So we really recognize that. We respect that, and we truly appreciate it because we wouldn't be as motivated on the pitch if we didn't realize that all the support we've gotten throughout the entire season, they've truly helped us get to where we are right now. So we really appreciate it, and we're so excited to see you guys on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great coming together, and we're not playing at the Plex, but it's going to feel like we are. We're wearing our home kits. We're going to have our owners here, our president, all of our front office staff, every player, including our 2 amateur reserves, have been down and included in the team. We'll have Laura Del Rio's jersey, so we're having. It's an entire organization, and to have our fans here, I wouldn't expect anything less of them, but we are certainly appreciative of it, the investment that they make, the commitment they make to support our game and our league and our players. It's going to be just a wonderful day.
Okay, next question.
Diana Matheson has played a little bit less recently. What do you kind of see her role as being on the team now?
Well, when you get into knockout phases, you face potential overtime and penalty kicks. So if you look at that, if you start a player like Diana, who, at this point, I don't think she could play, 100 minutes and then take a penalty at the end. So, being the depth of the roster that we have, is a huge advantage to have a player of her experience and her ability and her I wouldn't say gamesmanship, but her ability to decide games and do what's needed to add that coach on the field kind of speak. But she's a top PK taker as well, so you have to have her on the field if it comes to that. So you can't not plan for it, and that's really been the reason for it. Is the last 2 games is she's getting older in her career, and she's more effective for us with our roster the way it is now coming off the bench.
Hey, Coach. Western New York Flash has speed on top to bottom. Do you anticipate any changes in the
We'll
team?
see about that.
Team defense on Sunday?
No, I mean, we look back, they're a very athletic team, but, that's their strength. We have a strength as well. We're a very good possession team. We keep the ball on the floor. We have a lot of movement and a lot of dynamic movement. We're close together. So it's not something where you have to make any adjustments to. It's something that you just have to be aware of. I mean, we've played them a couple of weeks ago, and we saw them play against Portland. And, I think we look back at our match against them at Western New York. We ended up walking out of there with a 3-0 win, which is probably a little bit of a little Bandito mask, but because I think it was, they certainly had a lot of the play. I think we had 5 shots on goal and 3 goals. And the strategy was not to give up corner kicks because they're so good, or long throws. And I think in the first 5 minutes we'd given up 3 corner kicks, and the total was somewhere between 13 and 19 for the game, and we did not concede on a corner kick. So, you have to be aware of their strengths and their qualities and their assets, but we also have to focus on doing what we do well and not fall into the trap of playing the way they play.
Next question in the back.
Ali, being European-based, I've got to ask how the preparation and lead up to this game as compared to the one that you had with FFC Frankfurt in the Champions League final, and what learnings you can take from that going into tomorrow's game.
Thank you. Great question. It's refreshing to hear that. Something new. It's similar. It's obviously not better or worse. It's just different. I hold it, like I said before, just as high. It's just as important. And I'm fully focused and ready to, in preparations for this game, ready to compete just as I would in any other final. And I obviously think that that's just on a different level because of the European tournament there. But this is obviously just as important for me. And I don't think anything else other than it's another game. And I'm going to perform the same way I do every game. And that's going to be at a high level. And I'm going to compete. I'm determined. I'm motivated to succeed. So, and I'm motivated to carry this team on my back in order to be successful. And I'll do anything that the team and the coaches ask me to do to perform well and to win. And that is what I would do every single game, no matter if it's Champions League final. But it's kind of like I've been there, done that type of thing. So it's now, fully focused on this NWSL final, but it's just as important to me.
I'd like to comment on that, in that, yeah, this is a final, but every league game we played this year had the same intensity and the same meaning. And we're here with the Flash representing 10 teams in this league, 200 players who play Champions League level match every week. Champions League is a great event. The level of intensity and competition is high. But for those teams, a lot of those teams, they don't get the week in and week out competitive level that we get on a daily or weekly basis. But, yep.
Okay, we'll take our next question in the back.
I guess this could be a question for either one of you, but you said the Del Rio jersey is here. I'm just wondering if there's a plan for that, if it'll be on display or where it will be during the game.
It'll probably be in the locker room, and then any photo ops in the game, we'll make sure we have it. Post-game photo ops.
Okay, do we have any further questions? No more questions? Okay. At this time, I'd like to thank Jim and Ali for your time. We're going to do a brief photo op first, and then we'll take an intermission. And then following that, we'll be joined by the Western New York Flash.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Push the chair really far, so they have to pull it out.
Great. Welcome back, everyone, to the 2016 NWSL Championship Preview Press Conference. At this time, I'd like to welcome Western New York Flash head coach Paul Riley and Western New York Flash forward Jess McDonald. First, we're going to go ahead and begin with some overall thoughts. Paul, if you could just give us your thoughts looking ahead to Sunday's championship match.
I mean, obviously, it's a huge game for both teams. I think some of it that goes underrated is the fact that the club's been to 6 out of the last 8 playoffs in different leagues and been very successful. So I know it's unusual. Maybe we didn't expect this team to be here, but I think if you look at the past history, they've been very successful. So we're glad to be here. Obviously, Washington's a different proposition from Portland, different style, different play, a little bit more speed up front, which we're going to have to deal with. And but you know what? For us, it's we've got no fear. We're just coming into the game. We still haven't talked about a championship. Still haven't talked about the playoffs. We're just talking about just our best performance we can possibly put on, and the whole game plan is really to put on our best performance, and whatever we need to do, we'll try and do it. And I think in Portland, the game plan was to a T what they did, and I was very proud of the players and what they put into the game, and they've been tremendous in practice. I mean, even the very loose groupers, whoever was at practice yesterday will see they're loose, they're happy, they're having fun with it, and it's been a really enjoyable week coming in. I want to thank the NWSL because we've had a great time since we've been in Houston, and it's been a lot of fun for the team. And I think for us, particularly our team, we need that. The other team's a little bit more experienced, a little bit more internationals. I think 6 times the amount of caps that our team's got or something silly like that. I don't even know what the numbers are, but it's an unbelievable opportunity for us. And we said last week going into Portland that would be an experience that most of our younger players could take with them for the rest of their lives. And I'm hoping this one will be another great opportunity. And I think when you taste it, that you want to get back again. And hopefully in the past years and in the future years, they'll be able to look forward to try and get into the playoffs. And we'll actually be able to mention the word before we get to actually play in the championship game.
Thank you, Paul. And Jess, if we get your thoughts looking ahead to Sunday's championship.
I think it's really exciting, especially for the young players. We have a lot of rookies on our team, so for them to be able to experience this their first year as a pro, it's an absolute privilege. And to have the variety of personalities and players that we have on this team that bring such tenacity to every training, day in and day out, and the camaraderie that we have in the locker room just kind of brought us here today. And it's just a really cool accomplishment, and it's just really cool to be able to experience this with this group of women.
Thank you, Jess. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. If we could ask, please raise your hand and wait for the mic. We'll go on the front.
Coach, there are some coaches who coach from the gut, and there's some who obsessively plan out every detail. With Scott being on the sideline on Sunday, is it a situation where he's going to know exactly what to do if the team's up a goal, down a goal, that you guys have already planned all that out, or is he going to just make those decisions?
No, it'll be planned out. Most of it will be planned out prior to it, and obviously the scenarios, we don't know what the scenarios are going to be, obviously going into the game. But we've been together a while. We were in Portland together too, so we've been together for 2 years, me and Scott, and he's a little bit more defensive-minded than I am, so that would probably make a good couple, But he's, we've talked a lot about the game, obviously, and about the game plan and going into the game plan, so I don't see any issues with it. And we rely on also the experience of a couple of them, like Jess particularly, and Erzig in the midfield, and Dalkamper in the back. And we've been through every scenario. We've been involved in every scenario, in all honesty. We've been 3-1 down chasing the game. We've been 2-1 down chasing the game. We've been 7-0 up. I think just about every scenario we've been in so far this season, away and at home. I think that's been the fun part of the journey for us, and so I think we're excited and looking forward to the game, and whatever happens in the 80+ minutes, the last 10 minutes is going to be hairy-dairy no matter what. And I think at that point, I usually coach to the gut anyway, so if Scott's got to make a decision at that point, he'll make the decision, and I trust him completely, just like we trust the players.
Okay, next question.
Jess, as a former Dash player, how does it feel to be playing for the championship on a stadium and on a field that you're kind of familiar with?
It's a great feeling overall, simply because this is the championship field, and for it to be, an old home of mine, it's still a really cool experience overall, especially as a pro. And I really enjoy playing on this grass, and grass anywhere pretty much. So as long as we're on a grass field, I'm pretty excited either way it goes.
All right, next question. Go in the back.
Jess, I'm wondering if you could comment on your season from a personal standpoint. I know you have a child and got traded again to a new city, and it's a little bit of a different setup, training in one city, playing in another. Just what were your thoughts when you got traded, and how has the season played out for you from a personal perspective?
It's quite a roller coaster, especially emotionally, being a mom in this league, one of the few moms in this league. But, you know, I try not to take the negative aspect of the situation. I try to turn it into something positive because my kid's really young. He's really young to the point that he can still continue to travel with me. And he's only in preschool right now. And so for right now, it's just really cool that he's able to experience living in different cities, living in different parts of the world, which is really cool. So in the future, when we have pictures hung up in our home, he can say, hey, I lived in Germany, I lived in Portland, Oregon, Houston, you know, you name it. Like we've lived there, and he's actually traveled with me for a whole season one time. And I mean, we lived in Seattle. So, you know, you turn around to something positive, which is really cool. Yeah, it could be frustrating, you know, 5 teams in 4 years, but you know, when you find a home for a whole year, then you have to make the most of it.
Okay, in the back, please. Next question.
Paul, the Spirit have rotated center backs quite often this season. It's a bit of a mystery going into it. Do you feel like you have an idea of who Jim's going with, and does it actually affect anything that you're planning to do?
Yeah, I mean, we'd have the ones we'd like Jim to go with. Yeah, obviously they've got some good centre backs. It's a mixed group, you know. But for us, I think playing against these two is going to be a handful, no matter who you are. And hopefully they won't sleep tonight, whoever the centre backs are. But they're, I mean, I certainly it's a key position in the team. And I think, you know, when we were giving a lot of goals, or we were shipping a lot of goals mid-season, me and Jess were actually just talking about it. And Abby Dalkamper had Alana next to her, and then Alana went to the Olympics, and Abby Erzig went alongside her for 3 games. Then Abby went to the Olympics, and then Courtney Nemec went alongside her, and then Alana came. So Kiwi came back, and she went back alongside her, and then Alana came back, and then Alana went back alongside her. So we've had to shift that position around a lot too, and I think it's a difficult spot to be switching. And you know, most teams in this league play with 1 forward. I think it's unusual for a team to play with 2, and I think the fact that we do play with 2 puts them, you know, there's no surprises there. I guess we're going to play with 2 tomorrow, and I think you got to be on your toes with these 2 around, because you just never know. And the one thing about Lynn and Jess is, you know, our first line of defence is from the front. The press is coming from them. They dictate the press, and they're both willing to put the work in and do whatever it takes to get the ball back. So I think any centre backs, I don't think Jess is too worried about who gets put in there. And it's the same, you know, as the goalkeeping situation too. It's been changed a lot too. But we've really concentrated on our side of the game and our preparation in terms of what we're going to do and how we're going to do and how we're going to get the ball back and how quickly we're going to get the ball back and things like that.
Jess, you talked a little bit about the number of teams you've been on. Can you talk about the level of chemistry that you've been playing with this Western New York Flash team versus some of the other teams you played with?
Yeah, I think coming in, the really cool thing is that before I came here, I was on the phone with Rich, our GM, and it was just really cool to hear his side of things and this organization side of things that, you know, they wanted me. They truly wanted me, and this is the first organization that, you know, had built their confidence in me to lead this team. And so just coming off of that has built my confidence a little bit, and also being surrounded by the group of women that I play with on the field, I try and help with their confidence as well by, you know, just not even, it doesn't have to be verbally, it can just be what I just bring to the show on the field. And so just to have that type of leadership is kind of what brings us together, and the cool personalities that we truly do have on this team, which is something rare that you don't really see in a locker room. And so I just think the little things like that is kind of what brings it to the table.
This question's for Coach Riley. Coach, Jessica's talked a couple times this week about the responsibility that's been put on her, as well as the role that she has in this organization compared to her previous stops. What was it about what you saw in Portland from Jessica that convinced you that she was ready to take on this type of role here with a different team?
Well, to be honest with you, honesty about it, I was hired after Jess was already in Western New York, and the first phone call I made was to Jess. Out of all the players, I felt that was one that we needed to have a chat. And I guess as soon as we had the chat, it was about 30 seconds. We were on with it, and what are we going to do this year, and how we're going to do it, and we had a great conversation. And we put a lot of time into the forwards. I'm not one of those guys that just says, "Oh, they'll be okay on the night." We do spend a lot of time. And Jess, Lynn, Kristen Hamilton, Mackenzie Doniak, they've spent a lot of time in front of net, a lot of time working on their trade and plying their trade throughout the season. And I think we're a club of not what if. What if we don't score? What if we don't press well today? What if we don't win? We're more of even if the press doesn't work today, we'll do this. Even if we don't score today, Jess can do that for us. Even if we don't play well today, we can do this. So I think we've built our season on even ifs and not what ifs. And it's been it's been that kind of, I think, philosophy throughout the season. And to bring Jess back together, and we've had good success together. She's brilliant. And she's a mum, which I think I found absolutely astounding, that she does what she does day in, day out. And I mean, she trains hard. She loves the suicide mile, which is one of our favourites, And it's so funny when you've coached a player before, and I say we're doing a suicide mile, and everyone on the team goes, "Oh yeah, that's," and Jess, I can just see Jess in the back going, because she's one of the few that have played for me. Actually, the only one that's really played for me at length, And you can just see her going. Then we're going, "Oh, we're going to do the orange peel today," and just it goes down the back again. But it's been a fun season with Jess. We've had a good laugh, and I think it's been a great season for her. It's, again, she deserves to be in the 11 MVP. I think her and Lynn were the two MVPs of the season, and she's been a huge impact on Lynn too. So I can only say, it's been great having her back, and I look forward to many years together.
Okay, we'll take our next question in the front.
We're both getting younger, right?
I know.
Just checking.
Can you talk a bit about the youth on this team and how that affects you as a coach and the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, it's a loose locker room. They're a fun group, and I think when we first went in, there was a lot of younger players, and it wasn't a happy place, the locker room last year. And I think the most important thing was to take the results out of it, and to bring an environment where it's fun. They want to come to practice every day. They want to not focus on results, but focus on the fun aspect of it and improving aspect. And I think anytime you get hired as a coach and you look at the team that you've got in the squad, you got to make a decision. Is it all about results, or is it all about development? And I took the thing on this occasion saying it's all about development, and all we're going to do is forget the results, put them in the background, and work on the fact that each player can do a little bit more each day to get better. And that's how we approached it. And we talked about being fearless, and the underdog card was handed to us by all you guys out there. You guys handed us that underdog card 7 months ago, so I've just played to that the whole way through, and I think it's helped us. And there's been a great belief in the group, and I think the Kansas City, I always go back to two results. One was Kansas City on opening day when we escaped with 3 points in Kansas, and then we went home to Chicago and beat them 2-0. I think that was the moment. I don't know how Jess feels, but that to me was the moment where I felt maybe we've got a shot. And Sam Hughes, I'll never forget, got off the bus one day. She goes, "Do you actually think we got a chance at the playoffs?" I go, and she goes, I didn't mean to say the words. She was like, and I said, we just keep working and we'll be okay. And it's just, the youth of the locker room. We've got some funny personalities, haven't we? We've got some great personalities in the locker room. I think, getting McCall in mid-season and getting Leanne Sanderson in mid-season helped the locker room too. Just give us a bit more experience, especially with the Olympic players about to go away. And it's been an up and down season for quite a few. When you look at Jay Hinkle, she did make the Olympic team, and from the mental capacity, we had to get Jay back on the card again. And then Sam went away and didn't play, and Sam came back, and she was feeling a little bit sorry, and we had to get her back in the locker room. But I think no matter what we've done, then Alana missed the penalty in the World Cup. She came back we got her back up again, and I think Kiwi went and got smashed 3 times in the Olympics, and she came back. So I think no matter what's happened through the injuries too, the group stuck together like glue. And I don't think I've enjoyed practice ever in my career, men or women. I coached on the men's side for 15 years. That this year's been just one of those things. Every day you want to go to practice, and whether it's short, long, hard, indifferent, whatever it is, never a question. Just got on with it, and it's been a lot of fun for sure.
Hi, Paul.
Hey.
You've been quite open about saying that you didn't set the team any goals or expectations at the start of the season. I spoke to Sam Mewis at the media day on Thursday, and she said you also created a kind of us against the world kind of mentality within the team. How much thought do you have to put into the atmosphere and environment that you want to create when you're going into a new club, and why was it that you decided to go down that road of kind of the us against the world mentality?
Well, you guys did that for me, didn't you? Let's be fair. 9th, 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 9th. Yeah, I think just coming in, obviously it was a whole different team, and I think that always when you come into a club, you look at the previous year and what happened the previous year. And having talked to Jess, obviously she wasn't there the previous year, and her experience in Houston, and then talking to Abby. Abby was the next phone call I made, Abby Dalcamper, and Abby spent, Abby's a yapper, so she spent about an hour and a half on the phone with me, talk about everything. Can we do this better, Paul? Can we do this better? And I just took notes, and I talked to Sam Hughes and just listened, another hour-long conversation with Sam, who, as you know, can yap. And it was just a really great opportunity to hear them out. And, it was things from, what's the bus like from Buffalo to Rochester? Can we improve that? That's done. Can we improve meals? That's done. Can we improve the practice sessions or the strength and conditioning sessions? And there was a laundry list of things that we felt would be important for the environment. And I think having lived it in Portland, where we had access to everything, I think I was able to maybe parlay some of the things that we did in Portland and bring them to the club, and maybe, I would say, for a better word, modernize the club a little bit, and just bring it up to speed. And the ownership has been great with us, backing us up. It's cost them a little bit more money, I think, in doing that and making sure that the players are taken care of, that little extra mile. And I think it makes a huge impact in a small market city like Buffalo. I mean, when you've got a lot of California kids, the year before they said they arrived in a snowstorm in Buffalo, and they were like thinking, oh my word, this is going to be tough. And now I feel like, every day they want to go back and they want to play again next year for the team. And I think it's just been a big change in the environment, in the locker room. We improved the locker room a little bit too. The medical part of it was improved. And it just, we got a bigger staff on board. It wasn't just all on Aaron to be able to do it. And, Aaron, I kept just going in, Aaron, we need this. Okay, no problem. Aaron, I need this. Okay, no problem. And I think without that support, we wouldn't be here either. And quick shout out to Aaron and Alex. They had a baby, Sebastian, the other day. So quick shout out to those guys. Congratulations. I don't know, did I answer the question?
We'll go in the back for the next question.
Paul, just playing off of that a little bit, what was that process like in terms of, was it a little bit of a fight for getting those changes, or how did that go about with, was it just ideological, they needed to invest more?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, I think what happens is when there's only one guy in charge for all this amount of time, that you just probably don't realize, and I've been to a few different clubs, obviously on the men's side and the women's side. So for me, when I came in, I sat down with Aaron immediately, said, I think we need to do this, X, Y, and Z. And Aaron was like, all right, if you think it's going to help, we'll do it. You think it's going to help? Yeah, let's do it. And yeah, there was a couple I had to, smack him in the back of the net with a fork, but most of it was pretty straightforward, But they've been great, and Joe Salin obviously has been in the women's game for a long time. They've been very supportive of the women's game, and I think Joe, the last couple of years, has looked at the team and wanted to do better. He loves the competition and the competitive element, and I think when we suggested some of these things, I think Joe was on board too. Let's get this done. Let's make this something to be proud of. And we started the academy this year, so when they're going into the ECNL and all these young kids, we want them to be proud of the team, and we want them to be able to have a big party tomorrow night while the game's going on, and support the team and look up to the team. And they've been sending us messages through the internet and through emails and singing songs for us, and we've done a lot with the academy there. The girls have been mentors for the academy program, so I think all this little stuff has all come at the right time. And Aaron's been we've been working on the academy to make sure that's going to build, and I think whatever we can bring and improve, then we're bringing to the whole thing. It's not just, this is how we play and this is what we want to do, the whole philosophy and, what we can improve for the players. At the end of the day, you want the players to come back, and you want the players to tell every other player in the league that, you should come here, you should come to Buffalo. And it's not an easy thing to do, I don't think, in the last couple of years to be able to say that. And I think with Aaron and Joe's support and Alex's support, we've been able to do that. So I think it's going in the right direction. I think we've still got a lot of work to do. Like I said, I think we're probably a year here. We thought maybe a year too early, come into the playoffs, but we made it in. And people have said, maybe we shouldn't be in, but I think we should be in. We've been in the top four for a long time throughout the season, and now it's down to 90 minutes or 120, maybe penalties, maybe not.
Okay, do we have any further questions? Okay, no? All right, at this time I'd like to thank Paul and Jess for taking the time to speak with us today, and we look forward to seeing everybody on Sunday for the 2016 NWSL Championship. And if you're not able to attend, be sure to watch on Fox Sports 1. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.